In the last video we talked about the Vedic understanding of time, and we mentioned about these four yugas, these four ages that we are going through always. There's the golden age, there is the Satya Yuga, it's called Satya Yuga, then the Treta Yuga, the silvern age, then the bronze age is Dwapara Yuga, and Kali-yuga, the iron age. So in each of these ages there are different activities suggested by the Vedas to achieve perfection in life. And this is the topic of this video. See you on the other side. In each yuga there was a different method to achieve perfection, and in the Satya Yuga, in the first age, the nature was full of energy, the food was very healthy and full of life energy. So people, they lived for 100,000 years, and also their heart and mind was very pure. So in that age the process given was dhyana, was meditation. And dhyana, that is one part of the Astanga Yoga. Astanga Yoga has 8 different, Asta means 8, Anga means limbs. So this is the yoga process, the 8-fold yoga process. And part of this yoga process is also the asanas. This is the different sitting postures or yoga exercises. And then pranayama means breathing exercises. And after this, and these 2 exercises, these bodily exercises, these asanas and these breathing exercises, they were just there to prepare the body and prepare the mind for this meditation. After these 2, after the asanas are completed and the body is prepared, and then the breathing exercises are done and the bodily airs are controlled, then there comes pratyahara, which means to restrain the senses from the outer world, from all distractions, from outer distractions. The senses and the attention and consciousness will be pulled away from it, so that then the next step, dhyana, meditation, can happen. And the goal of everything that Vedas give to humanity is always to know God. Veda means to know. And what we have to know? We have to know the source of everything, and that is God. In Vedic spirituality, we simply say Krishna. So Krishna, he's the source of all existence, and we are small particles of him, and we are like, he manifests us for an exchange of love. So the perfection of life is actually that we realize our constitutional positions as a small spiritual spark of the supreme whole, and to live this relationship. So whatever Veda says and whatever Veda tries to do is always with the goal of connecting the soul with the super soul. So in the Satya Yuga, in that age, this was done through the process of this Astanga Yoga. And so therefore, the point I want to make is that the object of meditation, the object of this dhyana, must be the Supreme Lord. And that someone is just able, without any outer help or any other type of method, to just sit down and just meditate on that Supreme Lord. That somebody is able to that, he has to be very pure in mind and very pure in heart. The problem why this was done in the Satya Yuga and cannot be done anymore now, since we are now in the Kali-yuga, is that our mind and heart is occupied with so many things. We are mostly interested in material gains. We want to gain money, and with the money we want to buy different things that we can enjoy for our bodily comfort, for our mental entertainment, and whatsoever. So this is our main focus. Our main focus is to achieve something on the material plane for our material welfare. So therefore, because this is our main focus, we don't have the ability to actually restrain ourselves from the outer world and meditate about the Supreme Lord sitting in our heart as the Super Soul. So therefore, it is the Vedas, they say that meditation and yoga practice is outdated. It is not suitable for living entities or humans, or living entities who took birth in a human form within the Kali-yuga. Because just simply the purity of heart and the purity of mind is not given to make this process successful. So of course, yoga is very trendy, and everyone is in everyone's mouth, yoga, and everyone might have done at least yoga once in a life. And it has its benefits, of course. It has its health benefit mainly. It may calm you down and give you tranquility and whatever. But it will, to achieve on this path the Supreme Lord, to really see God face to face, to purify yourself from all material vices and become a perfected spiritual being, it is practically impossible. So therefore, whatever yoga is done nowadays doesn't serve the purpose of the Vedas, which is to know God. It serves the purpose of having a more pleasant life, which is materialistic. It's not spiritual. So okay, then then the next yuga, in the Treta Yuga, people, they lived for 10,000 years, and since people were already that time not anymore capable of achieving success through the yoga process, the new process was introduced, and that was the process of fire sacrifice. So in fire sacrifice, the aim of fire sacrifice in Sanskrit is called yagya, is to please the Supreme Lord. In a fire sacrifice, it happened that I many times could join fire sacrifices, and it is like that the priest, he will there's a certain way to arrange the place where you do the fire sacrifice. It has to be cleaned, it has to be smeared with cow dung, then you need certain ingredients, different types of beans, you need rice and different things, you need pure water, Ganges water, then different type of herbs, kusha grass, you need mango leaves and things. All this is described. Then with colors you make a certain geometrical sign, then you arrange the wood in a certain way, and then when the fire is lighted, there are mantras to ask the Supreme Lord to take place in that fire. Then you offer some fruits to the fire, you offer incense and a light to the fire, you offer flowers to welcome it, and then with different mantras you give ghee inside the fire, clarified butter, you give grain inside the fire, and there are always mantras to say now this is for this, this is for that, this is for this, this is for this. But the main thing in these yagyas is to please the Supreme Lord, to please Vishnu. And there are 4 things needed to make a yagya, such a yagya, really successful. And that is 4 very qualified priests are needed. One who knows perfectly how to chant the mantras, because to pronounce Vedic mantras there is a very certain technique, and this is you need a very highly qualified brahmana to do that. And then you need one who can do the obeisances, put it inside fire. Then you need one who observes everything and checks that all the mantras are properly spelled and everything is properly done. And then I think one brahmana you need that he can, by mantra, he can ignite fire. And then besides this qualified priests, you need also pure ingredients. So all these things, they're not given anymore in this age of Kali. The priests are not that qualified. There's hardly anyone who knows how to properly pronounce Vedic mantras, and there's hardly anyone qualified to just ignite fire by mantra. There's hardly any qualified to understand all the small details needed within the yagya. It's very, you need to know, like for this mantra you have to face this direction, holding your legs in this way, and so many details are there, and there's hardly any brahmana anymore qualified enough to know all the details. And furthermore, the ingredients are not pure anymore. To make yagyas you need lots of clarified butter, ghee, and ghee has to come from pure milk, and pure milk has to come from pure cows. But nowadays 99% or 90% of all the cows on this planet are hybrid cows. They're not pure cows anymore. There's some kind of mixtures. Their DNA is not pure anymore. Their milk is not pure, so hence you not get pure ingredients for doing yagya. The same thing, fruits, grains, everything is deteriorated in Kali-yuga. Everything is not pure. So therefore yagya is not practical anymore in this Kali-yuga. And furthermore, what happened within the Treta Yuga is that in the beginning everyone knew what is the purpose of doing this. The purpose of this is to please the Supreme Lord, and that those who are involved in the yagya, they get connected to the Supreme Lord. But as the time goes on, in the Vedic yagyas, the people started to make sacrifices for demigods, not anymore for the Supreme Lord. And if the Supreme Lord is satisfied, is worshipped, because he is the whole of everything, all the parts of him will become satisfied. It is like you water the root of a tree, all its branches, twigs and leaves and flowers and fruits and whatever of the tree becomes all satisfied. So the demigods, like the wind god, the fire god, the god of rain and whatsoever, they're all like branches and twigs of that one supreme being of God. And in the beginning of Treta Yuga, this was very clear. Everyone knew that, and everyone performed yagya in this spirit, that we are worshipping the Supreme Lord for his pleasure, and everyone becomes satisfied from that. But as time goes on, the misconceptions started to enter, and people started to make yagya separately for the demigods. And why? Because the demigods, they help us in our sense enjoyment. If I get blessings for instance, by Lord Indra, then I can become very powerful in this life. Lord Indra is the king of heaven, and if I want to become very influential, have success as a politician or whatever, if I worship Lord Indra, I will get power. So because Lord Indra is helping him in his material pursuit, therefore he is going and making a sacrifice for Lord Indra, and that is not the purpose of Vedic spirituality. That is not the purpose of Veda. As we said, the purpose of Veda is to know God, is to know your source, the spiritual supreme being, and that we are spiritual small beings. We are supposed to serve him in a loving relationship, or to be connected with him in a loving relationship. So as the time goes on, this misconception entered, and yagyas were, so to say, misused and became only a means for enhancing your material life, which is not the original purpose of it. And also they came forth, they introduced the obeisances to the forefathers, and they just introduced all these new processes just that they will earn themselves. So the brahmanas themselves, they became greedy and became contaminated, and they started to introduce yagyas that people will pay them so that they will earn money. So this was happening, and therefore the process of yagya became, so to say, impotent for spiritual realization. So therefore in the next yuga, in Kali-yuga, Dwapara Yuga, people, they started to worship the murtis, the archa vigraha, means the deity form of God. And in the beginning of everything was pure, as usually in the beginning it's pure and it deteriorates, and people were worshipping Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayan, for the pleasure of him. But also there, what happened with the time, that the priests, they became more interested into their own body seva, serving their tongue and serving their belly and serving their bodily relationships, than to serve the deities. So they started to, instead of offering food for the pleasure of the Lord to the deity, they offered food so that later they can eat it and become happy by that. So it is a very subtle thing, but the original purpose of pleasing the Lord with offerings of food, of cooked items and so on, and dresses, that original purpose got lost, and people start to offer because they knew that they will get something in return. And the priests, they took the worship in the temple as the means of livelihood. Means they will do puja in the temple, so people will come and give donation, and then they can lose that money to maintain their family. So these things started to enter. So we can see that all these processes given by the Vedas, with the original purpose of connecting the soul with the Supreme Lord, have all their certain pitfalls. Like the yoga process, instead of with a pure heart, you are meditating about the Supreme Lord, you just practice yoga just to get a good health, so that you be more strong and can enjoy life very nicely. And then instead of doing yagyas for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, the priests start to do yagyas to fill their own pockets, introduce new types of yagyas to earn more money, and people start to worship the demigods so that they will enhance their material life. And also in the process of deity worship, there's a pitfall that instead of serving for the pleasure of the deity, which is Vishnu or Krishna, they do it to maintain their families, they do it to get nice food themselves, and eventually also they start to worship the deities of demigods, and then there is also again to enhance their material life and not to come to the state of spiritual realization. So now in Kali-yuga, since all these processes have failed, so to say, in large, and also they have their pitfalls, and also we are not qualified anymore, we are not anymore strong enough in mind, strong enough in intention, pure enough in heart and mind to do meditation, the ingredients are not anymore pure to do yajna. The priests are not qualified anymore to do proper sacrifices, and also we also don't have the means anymore to do nice deity worship. We cannot afford nice gold cloths. We cannot afford that. Also, our body is not strong enough to sit for hours and do arjan for hours. We get back pain by sitting on the floor, just on the mat. And since we are not anymore qualified, and also all these processes have deteriorated so much, therefore in Kali-yuga, in this time, day and age, the only thing that is recommended by the Vedas is to chant the holy name. Chant Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it is said that in this age of Kali, the only way to actually achieve the purpose of the Vedas, which is to meet God face to face and to re-establish our relationship, eternal relationship with God on the spiritual level, is through the holy name, is through chanting the holy name. So this chanting, in the same way, it should be done for the pleasure of the Lord. So we should sing Hare Krishna, we should do kirtan. Kirtan is this singing of the holy name, or glorifying God, speaking about God, but particularly about this also, speaking the holy name. So the purpose of is to please the ears of God. But again, there is a pitfall, so that people, when they start to sing the holy name and they sing in a nice melody, some pride develops in the heart, and we start to observe how people are reacting. Are they appreciating my voice? Are appreciating the melody? Are they appreciating me? So in this case also this chanting will not help. So therefore, and that will be an offensive chanting. So therefore, it is said that the chanting of the holy name is the dharma, or is the practice in this age to bring us to perfection, to spiritual perfection and spiritual self-realization. But we also have to be very, very cautious that we're not falling into the pit of offensive chanting and of chanting for establishing ourselves as good singers or good devotees or good that and this and that. So, however, it was quite a long video and I'm obviously a little bit tired of talking. So about this topic of pure chanting, what is the standard of proper chanting and so on, we can talk in other videos. But for now I just wanted to talk about this. Wanted to make the main point I wanted to make. The main point I wanted to make is that all other practices beside the holy name of the Lord is not suggested, is not recommended in this Kali-yuga, because we are not anymore qualified to bring these processes to perfection. They will give some result, no doubt, but these results are always just stuck on the material level. They may give us, enhance our material existence, enhance our material enjoyment, but they will never bring us to spiritual perfection. The only way to achieve spiritual perfection in this age is the chanting of the holy name. And in this chanting, we have to be very careful how we'll do it. And about this we can talk in other videos. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it was very insightful, and see you in the next video.
पिबतो भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि